Hey, lady. You like big things? Well, you know, I've got this Nikon Z7 II. It's got a really big mount. It's the mount of the future. Sony has this really small mount. It's like a crop center mount. Very limited. You can get fast, sexy glass, like the 50mm 1.2 with autofocus.
Sir, Sony just released a 50mm 1.2, and it's lighter and it's smaller. So also bigger is not always better. So
smaller and lighter.
So I'll just take my camera back.
Oh, it's Ryan Gosling from The Notebook.
He's up there.
All right, let's get it, baby. Are you ready? Right now, filming on the 51.2 G Master on the Sony a7S III with the new Sony mics, baby. In this video, I compared the best versus the best. The Canon R5 51.2 RF, the Nikon Z7 II with the new firmware update, which is actually pretty damn good, with the 51.2, and the Sony A1 with the 51.2 G Master. I compared them in photo and in video, and what's most intriguing to me was actually in the video side, so I think I'm gonna start there. The Z7 II surprised me, I'm not gonna lie, after their firmware update. I did some handheld video. At f1.2, most of my handheld B-roll was in focus. She could spin, twirl, whatever, it kept up. Okay, Nikon, I see you making improvements.
Look, I'm gonna keep it real with you guys. The camera impressed me, especially after the latest firmware. It did have some glitches here and there, like it, you know, taking a little bit of time to get the focus back, but we are f1.2, I understand. But out of the three, this was the weakest link, but not weak, if you get what I mean. Now, in terms of quality, it is not the weakest link. The image coming straight out of the Nikon is absolutely gorgeous, really natural looking, really contrasty, and look at that quality bokeh.
Canon R5, well, the Canon R5 did exactly as I expected. It's a monster.
I've had the Canon R5 for a while now. The video autofocus is outstanding, but it comes at a close second place to the Sony A1 in my opinion. There are more times where it's hunting or little glitches here and there that I just didn't experience with the Sony A1. In terms of the image, we got some RF glass, 51.2. You know the image is gonna be nice and sharp. We got some beautiful colors coming out of this baby. Nothing to complain about here.
The Sony A1, do I even have to tell you? I'm not gonna say it's perfect, but it's pretty much perfect.
I'm not trying to sound like a fanboy here. The Sony A1 is just on another level when it comes to video autofocus at f1.2. I didn't have any moments of it like hunting or just those weird glitches. If it ever missed the eye, it was by a hair and it gained it right back. In terms of quality, of course, you're getting an extremely sharp image with beautiful background blur. And if I didn't have three of these cameras lined up, I wouldn't say anything about the image, but now that I have them side by side, I feel like the Canon and Nikon nailed that natural look better straight out of camera in terms of color.
When I had the model, Gabby or me, walking toward the camera, the Nikon struggled. The Nikon did struggle. The Nikon would back focus, it would not like track the eyeball as she was walking. The Canon also did amazing. And the Sony A1, what do you think? But then something happened where when I popped the squat and then popped back up, the Canon wasn't responding. So it did take the Canon a couple seconds to do it. And the Nikon just said, screw it, I'm not doing this right now. When I walked through the video like the gangster that I am, the Sony A1 just locked on really quick. The Nikon and Canon did respond, but it was later on in the frame. So let's be honest here, how sick is it to be able to shoot at f1.2 on a camera like the A1 or maybe the Sony a7S III, I haven't tried it yet, but to be able to get perfect focus on the eyeball almost all the time with moving subjects. that's just, with the depth of field being so thin, it's pretty insane. So now on the photography side of things, let's just get this straight. The 50-1.2 Sony is actually not a 50 millimeter. It's more like a 47 millimeter. It is a tad wider than the other two. Now let's talk about what everyone wants to know. Is it sharp? How sharp is it? It's sharper than that one. All these lenses are sharp. These are high-end lenses. We're nitpicking here. I have to zoom into 200% to see any kind of difference. The Nikon, if anything, at 200% is less sharp. Like, I'm not even gonna go there. Another thing that you're gonna wanna know about is the bokeh. Sony has 11 aperture blades. The Nikon has 9, the Canon has 10. Is there a difference? I'm gonna keep it a buck with you right now. I don't see much of a difference. With the 11 aperture blades, I'm still not seeing perfectly circular bokeh balls in the background. Actually, I'm seeing nothing but football-shaped background bokeh balls in the photos that I took. All that matters is that the backgrounds are really creamy, buttery, and that's what you're definitely getting with these 3 lenses. Let's talk vignetting. The Canon is the prime suspect here. The Canon does have a lot more vignetting than the other 2 lenses. Chromatic aberration, I consistently saw that the Sony f1.2 G Master did better and controlling chromatic aberration and color fringing in the Canon and Nikon, but in the Sony it didn't. And that's something very consistent that I seen throughout the photos when I pixel peeped. Autofocusing of the lenses, well, a lot of that's also dependent on the cameras that you're using, and we're using the high-end cameras of each brand. But this is my kind of like final thoughts on everything, and I didn't script this or anything. It's just like my experience so far. I think that Sony making a 50 millimeter, the size of an 85 1.4 G Master at an f1.2 with autofocus, I'm actually a little bit mind blown, because I kind of fed into the hype of, oh, Sony has a crop sensor mount, they're not going to be able to make 1.2 glass. Everyone kept talking about that, and I'm genuinely like hyped that Sony did this. And with the capabilities of being able to shoot at 1.2, think about this for a second. 1.2, being able to shoot video where you're gonna get ultra cinematic footage with crazy amount of background blur. And let's say you're shooting something like at dusk or blue hour, you're gonna get huge bokeh balls in the background if you're doing video. And it even makes me lean more toward the A1, because the A1 is just a monster. I love the Canon R5, but the A1, in terms of autofocus and video, there's nothing else like it that I've ever used. You know what time it is. I'm gonna think on the fly. Let's make it cool, quick, and slick. If you like this video, oh no, forget that. All right, y'all, so this, all right, if you wanna see, oh, there you go, I got it, okay. All right, if you wanna see more content on the 50 1.2, I have 2 other videos coming out this week. So stay tuned for those, baby.